Good afternoon. It's just gone 5 o'clock. You're listening to Vision Australia Radio, 1197 on your AM dial. We're also on digital radio, VA Radio Digital, and you can check out our website, www.varadio.org. Peter Greco welcoming you to LeisureLink. Coming up very shortly, we'll speak to a young man who's going a very busy beginning of 2018. We'll speak about it here on Vision Australia Radio. Well, Steve Plain is about to undertake the 7 summits. Why would you do something like that? Steve's on the line to tell us. Steve, good to catch up with you.
Hello, Peter. How are you?
Pretty good. I hope you're well, because you've got quite a challenge ahead of you in the next few months.
Yes, no, I'm very well, thank you. And quite looking forward to January with the 7 Summits Challenge, which I set myself. So staying on, leaving Sydney on January 7th. So really excited about that.
Now, the seed, I guess, for this was sown back in 2014.
That's correct, yeah. I had a bit of an accident back then, and I guess that's what sort of prompted me to, I'd always had a dream of wanting to one day do the 7 Summits, and I guess putting work and other priorities first, never actually stepped out and did it, and following an accident, which just sort of changed perspective on things a little bit, decided to commit myself to my recovery and to attempting this goal. What happened? You were at the beach? Yeah, that's right. It was a Saturday morning down at Cottesloe Beach in Western Australia, and just been out I went for a quick swim, and as I was coming back in, body surfing back in towards the beach, and body surfed onto just a dumping wave and went headfirst into the sand, and got knocked unconscious on impact and broke my neck. Okay. So, I guess, breaking your neck is pretty serious, but being unconscious and being in the water, that's sort of double trouble. Absolutely, yeah, and yeah. Like you say, the broken neck was the worst part of it, but the initial fear that I had was when I came to, I didn't feel pain, didn't initially think I had broken my neck. I just felt really numb and dazed, and my initial reaction, I was still underwater, so I tried to swim to the surface, and when I tried to move my arms were paralysed at that point, and that's when I realised it was actually something pretty serious. And obviously you had help nearby to get you to a stage where you could recover. Yeah, so some people say I'm lucky, whether you call it unlucky, lucky, but yes. Very lucky that there were 2 volunteer surf lifesavers who were just close by at the time. So and, I was going to say, it was during your rehabilitation then that this idea came to you? Although you said before that it's something that you had pondered about in the past. Yeah, so it was something that I'd always wanted to... I'd always done a lot of just general bushwalking and things in Australia, and a lot of just outdoor endurance sports, and always wanted to attempt some more alpine climbing and mountaineering, and just always kept putting it off. So once with this accident, and decided, well, you never know what's around the corner, so might as well set myself that as a goal and just get out there and do it. Now, your initial prognosis wasn't very good. I'd imagine that if you said to the doctors at the time you had this 7 Summit idea, they probably would have had to try and find a nice way to tell you that it's going to be a bit too hard. Yeah, that's probably a pretty good way to put it. Sustained 3 unstable fractured vertebrae, a contorted spinal cord, ruptured disc, dissected arterial artery, tore ligaments and nerve damage and things as well. So the doctors were uncertain to what extent I'd actually regain full mobility, and pretty well told me that I'd never be doing any contact sports or outdoor adventure sports again. But within 12 months you'd proven that wrong? Yeah, so I guess the 7 Summits was being the end goal and something quite ambitious to try and work towards, but being such a large goal, just sort of broke it down into smaller steps. So initially through my recovery was just I spent 4 months in a halo brace, and a couple of months after that in a neck brace, and then started physiotherapy, and then my first goal was to do a climb down in New Zealand called Mount Aspiring. So headed down there, and that was only 11 months after my accident. That's terrific. One of the things I love about what you're doing is you're looking at both the prevention and also the recovery in terms of the organisations that you're doing it for. Yeah, so with the 7 Summits climbs and trying to do the 7 Summits in 4 months, so I've called that Project 70 in 4. But working with both Surf Lifesaving WA and also Spinal Cure Australia. And like you say, from my accident, had it not been for Surf Lifesaving and the trained volunteers on the scene, my outcome most definitely would have been very much different. So I think people don't appreciate the work that they really do day in, day out. And on that one day when I got taken to hospital, there were 3 other spinal injuries from WA beaches that one day. So sort of really highlighted to me how dangerous that actually is. But the other part of that was then also that when doctors diagnosed me and said what my injuries were, there was my only reaction was, well, how do we fix this? And the doctors don't have, when it came to actual damage to the spinal cord, basically just said, well, we can't, it'll either recover by itself or it won't. And that's when I started doing a bit of looking around and found the work that spinal research work that Spinal Cure through the Project Edge program are doing in Sydney to actually try and develop a cure and actually cure paralysis.
Terrific. Now, so what have you got? You've got 7 summits. So for people who mightn't be aware, they're obviously all over the world, and you're going to do it within 4 months. So I guess apart from the physical exertion, you got the travel and the recovery from jet lag, etc. to cope with.
Yeah, the climate is obviously challenging. That's just one aspect of it. Like you say, the actual logistical coordination, travelling to quite remote places, and just trying to stay fit and healthy for that duration. So the 7 summits is it's the highest mountain on each of the 7 continents. So I'll start from Sydney and head straight down to Antarctica, so the first climb in Antarctica. And then from there continue on, and the second climb is Aconcagua in South America, then to Africa for Kilimanjaro, then up to Indonesia for Carten's Pyramid, then down to Australia and do Kosciuszko, then up to Russia to do Elbrus, then after that across to Denali in Alaska, and rush straight down and try and attempt Everest in May on the end of all of that.
Gee, that's incredible. I'm exhausted just listening to it. So can people help out in terms of supporting you and I guess in this day and age, despite the remote places that you're going to go to, sort of follow your progress?
Yes, I'm going to be having live tracking, so I've got a GPS unit I'll be taking with me, so I'll have a website set up where people can actually track me live time. So I'll have frequent, from the GPS, I'll send out frequent signals, pinpointing my location on a map at all times, so people can track me, and I'll also be sending out updates through that as well, along with a more detailed trip blog on my website. So people can follow through that, and on my website also there's a donation site there where all donations are going 50-50 to Spinal Cure and Surf Life Saving Australia. So if anyone would love to follow along and watch the journey commencing in January right through to May and donate to those causes, would be wonderful.
Can they just Google your name, Steve Plain, or 7 Summits? How's the best way to find you?
The website is called www.project7in4.com.
7in4.com. Steve, good luck. We'll hopefully catch up with you when you're in Australia for a few days in March, before or after doing Kosciuszko. It just depends on how the planets align, but it'll be great to follow your progress online, and certainly when you get back in May to let people know exactly how it goes. Congratulations on what you've done so far. Just making the commitment to do it is an enormous achievement in itself. We wish you well, and thanks again for your time.
Thank you very much, Peter. I'd definitely love to try and catch up in March and once again in May.
It's a deal. Good luck, Steve.
Fantastic.
Steve Plain there, doing the 7 summits in 4 months for a couple of great causes, and we'll certainly follow Steve's progress as that gets underway early in January.